Hi everyone, it's JB here with a very quick review of yesterday's game between Burnley and Sunderland. Burnley winning the game by 2-0, getting our first Premier League win in the season, and well earned I thought as well. Now obviously during this video I want to eat a bit of humble pie as well. I've got some apologies to make to Lyle Foster and to Ekdal as well, because I slagged them off last week on Twitter saying they should play for the club again. Well, I've got to eat some humble pie. I thought they both played excellently. I actually think the Foster goal should have stood, but I'll come on to that in a bit. First half though, we started very sluggish. We get a free kick. We give away a free kick, and but really, I don't know, that's a 50-50 foul that. But the referee gives it, and the ball gets tossed in. Dan Ballard is coming undetected round the post. And all Mayenda has to do is chuck that into the back of the net, and then Dubravka, our new goalkeeper, pulls off a blinding save at 0-0. I mean, that was a big moment. And in the event, Dan Ballard got injured as well, which was fabulous, you know. So fabulous news for us. Hopefully Dan Ballard's okay, by the way. I don't mean that to be any malice to any Sunderland fans watching, but you know, I felt justifiably. I think for £2 million, I think Dubravka's good money well spent now. You know, he's proven himself. Then Sunderland got in behind. They had another chance where the ball was flicked over the goalkeeper but wide. But we owed them a result after they conned us. They tried to con us in the game earlier this year in the Championship. If you remember, they got two blatantly obviously not penalties, which they got given by Mr. Blackhouse. Now I remember him calling him Anthony Shithouse. You may remember the video. I'll leave a link for that if you remember the video. Fine. For those who haven't seen it, have a look, and I'll leave a video in. I'll leave the link to the video in the description. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, so we get another bad refereeing decision go against us during the first half. 17 minutes in, Lyle Foster uses his strength, bundles players down, not maliciously at all. There's no foul on the defender there, who goes down like he's been shot by Lee Harvey Oswald, and he ticks the ball in the back. But then John Brooks, the VAR, decides, well, it's little old Burnley, must be a foul then, no goal for Lyle, you know. And I actually thought that wonderful weaving one deserved something for Lyle, because I thought he just ran in and out of players. He didn't do anything wrong to the defender. I don't think he fouled him at any stage. I think it's very, very soft, but VAR always look for an excuse to try and chalk anything off that we might get. We didn't get a blatant nailed on penalty last week, but you know, again, I digress. As I said, so anyway, we don't get that given, but we played all right. Jadon Anthony missed a great opportunity towards the end of the first half, but we were still in with a shout. 0-0. It was evenly poised. Sunderland had a good spell. We had a good spell. So it was a bit in the balance. It was a bit seesawish that first half. Second half, we came out. Josh Cullen, he's had a lot to, you know, he's got to prove himself a bit now, stepping into the captain. He took a bit of unfair stick, I thought, last week. I thought he had a decent game at Spurs last week in defeat, and I didn't think he played that badly yesterday neither. Anyway, he gets the ball edge of the area and he curls it in with his right foot, side of his right foot. Fantastic goal, and that really got us up and running then, and it was like, you know, a fantastic moment for us. And then we had a bit of a weird delay where the floodlights started flickering. I thought we were at a discotheque for a minute, because the floodlights at Turf Moor were flickering. Now I can understand a lot of people's frustration about that were probably there yesterday. I mean, on the TV, on Match of the Day last night, when they showed a clip of it, it did look quite spectacular, but obviously when it interferes with the game, you can't play under those conditions. And why would you want the floodlights on anyway? So I know for Burnley's groundsman, don't put the lights on. It wasn't that murky. It was, yeah, it was dull day, but it weren't that. They were light enough for the floodlights not to be on. It's the middle of, we're still in summer, for heaven's sake. We're in late summer, for heaven's sake. Anyway, again, I digress. So, and obviously that delay took about 6 minutes with the floodlights. I'm just looking, because I'm just looking towards my bus. So that took about, what, 6 minutes with the floodlights. And then Sunderland have a few opportunities. They just don't take them, and then all of a sudden, Josh Cullen, who I have to say was the man of the match in my opinion. I thought he ran Burnley's midfield so well. You know, people said he had a bad first half. I don't think he had a bad first half, to be honest with you. But he ran the show second half, and his vision to pick out Jadon Anthony, who timed his run perfectly. Just a side note on the Josh Cullen goal. They checked that from VAR for 200 years when they were checking an offside, which blatantly wasn't there. I just think they just did it because it's all Burnley, and they just wanted this. They thought in their eyes, well, it's not all Burnley. Well, we'll put them on 10 hooks a bit. You know, if that's what it's going to be like, I just wish to scrap VAR. You know, I'd rather go back in the Championship. Anyway, again, I digress. The second goal, nothing wrong with that one at all. Anthony stays on side, times his run to absolute perfection, zooms round the goalkeeper, sticks it into the empty net, and it's 2-0 and the game's won, and it's like fantastic. You know, it's party time really, and it's you know, and when I say party time, I mean party time. It was just you know, a fabulous finish, 3 points in the bag, signed, sealed and delivered. We still at the 10 minutes without any scares, so we won 2-0, and it was fabulous. And I just thought on the day, I felt we were worthy of the 3 points. Sunderland may claim that they missed opportunities. They did in the first half. They peppered us a bit second half, but we had too much know-how and too much nous for them to break through. And you know, listen, there's a few madcap Sunderland fans out there who think they should be entitled to be, you know, because they spent over £140 million on players like Granit Xhaka, they should be aiming for European football. You're a newly promoted side that have just come up from the Premier League. Get a bit of reality in you. Burnley are newly promoted, but we're not aiming for utopia. We're not aiming for the stars. Just the top 17. You know, if you can stay in the top 17, you stay in the Premier League for next season. You know, your first target's 40 points. You know, Sunderland fans want Debris sacked. You know, he got them a 3-0 win over West Ham last week, and now they're crying because they got beat by us. That's the nature of football. You know, we beat Sunderland, we might go to Manchester United and get thumped next week, who knows. But you know, then again at the same time we might go to Manchester United and get a result, or maybe better still win it. But you know, no, our Old Trafford record in recent years when we've been in the Prem has actually not been too bad at Old Trafford. So you know, read into that if you will. But yeah, I just think if you know, I still think we need some numbers in, especially I think in the midfield area. I still think we're light up top. I know Lyle did well, but I still don't think he's going to get you 10 goals a season. But I will leap on on that occasion. I still think Ekdal, he had a decent game yesterday, but will he get found out at Old Trafford? Again, it's not knowing. That's the unpredictability of the game of football. You don't know what's going to happen. And the trouble is, are we going to judge Ekdal on one game? Or are we going to judge him on 5 or 6 or what? But yeah, I think the home form will be crucial. We have a free hit at Old Trafford next week. We've got 3 points in the bag. We needed that 3 points. The next possible winnable game is probably Nottingham Forest. When you look at all the top teams that we've got to play Man United, we've got to play Liverpool, we've got to play Manchester City at some point. And the reality is we're probably not going to get anything from any of those games. But then we might pick up a bonus point or 3. You don't know. We can get 3 extra bonus points going into the Forest game. You know, I mean, that would be handy. But you know, I'm not expecting utopia in the first 5 or 6 games. You know what I mean? You know, games will balance itself out when we play the teams around us later on. So we've got to be optimistic but cautious at the same time. But a fantastic result, good start, wonderful performance, and no complaints from me. Great performance. Sunderland just didn't have the cutting edge to trouble us too much. Yeah, they had a good opportunity, but that was that really. Anyway, subscribe to the channel, keep watching, and I'll be back with another review very soon. From me, JB, take care. Bye bye. Up the Clarets.